What if you could go back to day one? What if you could start learning English all over again? But this time, you knew everything you know now. Which mistakes would you skip? Which habits would you build immediately? And how much faster would you reach fluency?
I have thought about this question more times than I can count, because I wasted years on approaches that did not work, methods that felt productive but produced almost nothing.
And today, we are answering that question completely honestly. Not with the advice you find in textbooks, not with what teachers are supposed to say, with the real answer, what we would actually do if we had to start from zero tomorrow.
And we are going to be very specific. Not practice every day, not watch English films, real specific steps in a real specific order, the order that actually matters.
But here is the thing. The answer to step 1 is going to surprise you because it is not what anyone expects. It is not grammar. It is not vocabulary. And when you hear it, you will understand why so many learners struggle for years without ever truly breaking through. Stay with us.
Welcome to English Flow Podcast. I'm William.
And I'm Sarah. And this is one of the most personal episodes we have ever made because we are not going to tell you what to do. We are going to tell you what we wish someone had told us a long time ago.
Subscribe to English Flow Podcast if you have not already, and stay until the very end, because the final step, step 7, is the one that makes all the other steps work.
Let us begin.
Part 1. Step 1. And here is the answer that surprises people. The very first thing I would do if I had to learn English again from zero is not pick up a grammar book, not download an app, not find a tutor.
Then what?
I would fall in love with a language first.
Fall in love with it?
Before any study, before any method, before any vocabulary list, I would spend the first week doing one thing only, finding what I loved in English. A film, a song, a story, a podcast, a person whose voice I wanted to sound like.
And why does that come first?
Because language learning takes years, and you cannot sustain years of effort through discipline alone. Discipline runs out, motivation fades, but love, genuine love for the language, that is renewable. That refills itself every time you hear a song that moves you or read a sentence that says exactly what you were feeling.
When I think about the languages I have studied, the ones I made real progress in were always the ones where I found something I loved. A film, a singer, a writer.
And the ones you struggled with?
The ones where I only had a grammar book and a reason I was supposed to learn it.
So, before anything else, find your love. What is your English love? A TV series you cannot stop watching? A musician who sings in English? A book that pulls you in? A podcast that makes the commute disappear?
Find it and let it pull you into the language, because that pull, that desire to understand more, to get closer, that is the most powerful learning engine that exists.
Fall in love first. Study second. That is step 1.
Part 2. Step 2. And this one goes against what most language schools teach.
What do most language schools teach?
Speak from day 1. Open your mouth immediately. Do not be afraid to make mistakes. Start speaking on the very first lesson.
And you disagree with that?
Not completely, but if I were starting from zero, I would spend the first month listening much more than speaking, absorbing, building a picture of what the language sounds like, how the words connect, how the rhythm works.
Because language is sound before it is writing, before it is grammar, before it is vocabulary lists. A child does not speak a language the moment they are born. They listen for months. They absorb. They build an inner model. And then, when they speak, they have something real to draw from.
And when I started learning English by listening, really listening, I noticed something. My pronunciation improved faster. My intonation sounded more natural. My sentences had a rhythm that I had not learned from a textbook. I had absorbed it.
So what would you listen to?
Anything I genuinely found interesting, but specifically material just above my level. Not so hard I understood nothing. Not so easy it was boring. The zone where I understood most, but had to stretch a little for the rest.
The stretching zone. That edge is where the learning actually happens.
The stretching zone. And I would listen every single day, on my commute, while cooking, while walking. Not studying, just listening. Just letting English become familiar, like a song you hear so many times, you know all the words without ever trying to memorize them.
Listen first. Let the language become familiar. Then speak from a place of recognition rather than uncertainty.
Part 3, Step 3. And this is one of the mistakes I wish someone had corrected for me much earlier.
What mistake?
Learning individual words instead of phrases.
Most learners, especially at the beginning, build vocabulary lists. Apple, table, run, beautiful. Individual words, memorized individually.
And then, when they try to speak, they put those individual words together, and it sounds correct, but unnatural.
Exactly, because native speakers do not speak in individual words. They speak in chunks and phrases and combinations that always go together.
If I were starting from zero, I would learn phrases from the very beginning. Not happy, but I am so happy about that. Not go, but I need to get going. Not sorry, but I am so sorry to hear that.
Phrases carry context. They carry the music of the language. And when you learn the whole phrase, you also absorb the grammar naturally, without ever opening a grammar book.
Instead of learning the word have, learn I have been meaning to tell you. Instead of learning the word think, learn I think it would be better if. Instead of learning the word mind, learn would you mind if I.
These phrases are not just vocabulary. They are social tools. They are conversation builders, and they sound instantly natural because they are the real language as real speakers use it.
So from day one, every new word I learned, I would learn it in a phrase, a sentence, a context, never alone, never isolated, always in its natural home. Part 4, Step 4. And after the listening, after the phrase building, now we speak, but not in the way most people imagine.
How then?
Every single day, out loud, even alone, even to myself, even if I was just narrating what I was doing. I am making coffee. I need to leave in 10 minutes. I wonder if it is going to rain today.
Why does every day matter so much?
Because speaking is a physical skill. Your mouth, your tongue, your breathing, your rhythm, these are muscles. And like all muscles, they only develop through consistent use, not through a 2-hour class once a week, through a small amount every single day.
I can feel the difference in my own speaking. On days I speak English early in the morning, my whole day in English is smoother. The words come faster. The sentences feel more natural, as if the engine has been warmed up.
The engine needs warming up, and the best way to warm it up is to use it every day for at least 5 minutes before any real conversation, any meeting, any class.
And if I had no speaking partner, which I often did not, I would still speak. To the mirror, to my phone, to my cat, to my own reflection, to the wall. The audience does not matter. The output does.
Every day, even 5 minutes, counts more than 1 hour once a week, because every day you are telling your brain, English is real. English is mine. English is something I live, not just something I study. Part 5, Step 5. And this one, when I tell people, they look at me like I have said something strange.
What is it?
Make mistakes on purpose. Seek out the situations where you will make mistakes. Welcome them. Choose them deliberately.
Make mistakes on purpose?
Most learners spend enormous energy trying to avoid mistakes. They rehearse before speaking. They only speak when they are almost certain. They stay in their comfort zone, and their comfort zone never expands.
Because growth only happens at the edge, at the place where you are not yet comfortable.
If I were starting from zero, I would deliberately put myself in situations slightly beyond my level, conversations where I might not have all the words, meetings where the topic was new, interactions where things could go wrong.
And what happens in those situations?
Your brain activates fully because it has to. There is no autopilot. And when the brain is fully activated, learning happens at its deepest level. The things you learn in moments of stretch and even failure, those are the things you never forget.
I remember one conversation early in my English learning where I completely got confused. I used the wrong word, the other person looked confused, I tried to explain, I got more confused, and we both ended up laughing.
And
I never made that mistake again because the experience burned the correct version into my memory permanently.
Mistakes are not evidence that you are failing. They are evidence that you are trying. And trying consistently at the edge of your ability is the fastest path to fluency that exists.
Part 6, Step 6. And this one is about something that most language learning advice completely ignores: community.
The people around your learning journey.
If I were starting from zero, I would actively look for people who were also learning English, or who were native speakers willing to communicate. Not to practice, although that is a bonus, but to feel that I was not alone in this.
Learning a language alone in isolation with no one to share it with is one of the most discouraging experiences there is. You hit walls, you have setbacks, you have days where it all feels impossible.
And on those days, what keeps you going is not a method. It is a person, a community, someone who says, I felt exactly like this last month. Keep going.
And this does not have to be in person. Online communities, language exchange apps, YouTube comment sections, podcasts like this one, where you can leave a comment and feel seen.
Because the feeling of being seen, of being understood, in a language you are still learning, that is one of the most motivating experiences in the whole journey.
Find your people, a study partner, an online community, a YouTube channel where the comments feel alive, an app where you can connect with other learners.
You do not have to learn English alone. And the learners who have community around their journey, they persist longer. They recover from setbacks faster. They enjoy the process more.
And enjoyment, as we said in step 1, is not a luxury. It is fuel, and community provides it in abundance.
Part 7, Step 7. And we promised you this was the step that makes all the others work. And I want to be honest about why.
Go ahead.
Most learners measure their English by what they can and cannot do. I can write a formal email, but I cannot speak fluently. I know 300 words, but not 500. I passed level B1, but not B2.
Progress measured in gaps, in what is missing.
Exactly. And measuring by gaps always makes you feel behind, always makes fluency feel far away, because there is always more to learn. The gap never closes completely.
So what should you measure instead?
Measure how English makes you feel, not just what you can do, how it feels to speak it, how it feels to understand a conversation, how it feels when you write a sentence and it comes out exactly right.
And why does that matter for progress?
Because the learners who keep going through the difficult months, through the plateaus where it feels like nothing is improving, are almost always the ones who have a positive emotional relationship with the language. They feel good when they engage with it, even imperfectly.
And the learners who stop, who give up, it is almost never because they were not capable. It is because the process stopped feeling worth it. The feeling became negative, heavy, like a burden.
So from the very beginning, I would build rituals that made English feel good, not just productive, good. A favorite podcast in English with a cup of tea, a journal entry in English about something beautiful that happened, an English film on a Friday night.
Small moments where English is connected to pleasure, to comfort, to something you look forward to.
Because when English feels good, you return to it every day, not because you should, because you want to.
And wanting is more powerful than any method, any technique, any textbook.
This is the step that makes all others work. Because a learner who loves the process, who feels positive, who measures their emotional connection to the language as much as their vocabulary count, that learner will still be learning a year from now, 5 years from now.
And that learner will get there.
If I am honest, I did not do all of these steps when I first started learning. I made every mistake we talked about today. I studied grammar before I loved the language. I memorized words instead of phrases. I avoided mistakes instead of seeking them.
And how long did it take you to feel truly comfortable in English?
Much longer than it needed to. Years longer. Because I was doing what I was told instead of what actually worked.
And that is why we made this episode. Not to show off what we know, but to give you the shortcut we never had.
You do not have to take the long road. You do not have to repeat our mistakes. You can start tomorrow with step 1, find your love, and build from there.
And every step after that, listen deeply, learn phrases, speak daily, make mistakes, find your community, Measure your feeling.
7 steps, starting from 0, going all the way to fluency. And none of them require expensive courses, or perfect conditions, or a natural gift for languages.
Just a decision made today to start differently, to start smarter, to start with love.
And now, your challenge. And it starts with one question. Write your answer in the comments below.
What is your English love? What is the one thing, the film, the song, the story, the voice, that makes English feel beautiful to you?
Because finding that answer and writing it is step 1. Right now, in this moment, the first step of your new approach.
And if you do not have an answer yet, that is your challenge this week. Find it. Watch something, listen to something, read something, until something clicks, until something pulls you in.
Because that pull, that love, is not a nice extra. It is the foundation. Everything else is built on top of it.
Please subscribe to English Flow Podcast. Give this episode a like and share it with someone who is struggling with English right now. Not because they cannot do it, but because nobody gave them the right starting point.
This episode is that starting point. Share it with them. It might be exactly what they need.
We are so thankful for every single one of you, for showing up, for learning, for trying.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm William.
Start differently. Start smarter. Start today. Keep flowing.